Hi guys, TJ back here again. I've made a short video of the servicing of the gearbox out of the boat. A lot of you will remember that I had problems when I left the pool. I managed to overcome them by filling the gearbox up with engine oil, but that's not a permanent solution. When I took the gearbox out and brought it back to my shed, I drained the oil through a paint filter just to check for shavings, files, teeth. Luckily enough there was nothing there and the oil looked pretty good, so I might have got away with it. I like to always try and replace the nuts and bolts to where they come from if I can. It just keeps them safe and you know where they go then, it's harder to lose them. This particular gearbox is a Newage PRM 80. I was able to get in contact with them through emails. They give me loads of advice and a parts list. And they figured out through the serial number that the gearbox is from 2007. Here I'm just taking off the selector. There's only forward and reverse gear, so it's not very complicated. If you're trying to do this at home yourself, just be careful. It's in 3 parts. You've got the selector drum, a spring, and the fork, as I like to call it. I nearly dropped the spring into the case, but as I was taking it apart it didn't really matter, but just watch out for that. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about this part, the splitting of the cases. There was no gasket in between them, but loads of silicone, so I cut it here with the knife first. I was finding it very hard to separate the cases, but what I found out after I'd separated them, that there's the main shaft has a bearing pressed into the cover, so that was what was holding the cover on. And I was trying to evenly open up the case all the way around so I wouldn't put pressure on the bearing. So finally got the casings apart. I noticed then that there was shims inside, so be careful if you're doing this yourself to get them, keep them in the right order, and because there's 2 holes on the casing you can see. There's a shim here on the output shaft, and on the lower bearing there's 2 shims. So time for a good clean and blow dry. After I cleaned all the oil out and found no more loose parts inside, I tested all the bearings. I couldn't find any noise or groaning or rattling from anything, so I don't think there's a problem with the gearbox. So I decided just to clean it all up and put it back together. So fitting the new silicone, I got a high temperature oil resistant silicone to go all the way around. Making sure I get the shims back in the correct order. this was another nervous part because you had to get the shims correctly in and the bearing correctly in, and just hope you've got them correctly in, and then slowly press the two parts together. If you do want to do this yourself, the Newage website is great. They've got a PDF file of the procedure to take apart and put together, and a PDF file of all the parts. So it was really helpful. I was able to get all the torque settings off the website, so everything was torqued down correctly. The output shaft nut, which you'll see me putting on in a minute, that was 250 Newton meters. My torque wrench didn't quite go that far, so I had to tighten it as much as I could and give it another little more. This is the output shaft nut. I had to put it in my big vise to try and hold the gearbox in position. After talking to Newage, they advised me to use ATF, Dextron 3 or 2, and it only takes a pint of fluid. I was a bit disappointed I couldn't find anything wrong with the gearbox, but kind of glad there was nothing wrong, but that didn't solve where the noise came from.
In here, but if you look here, it's a scrape mark where something's obviously hitting it, but it's not up this end. So I'm going to clean the bell housing out. Sorry, excuse me. Reattach it, put it back on the boat, and I'll see if I can adjust it a little bit. But I'll clean a quick clean. This is one side, and look, you can see where somebody's actually grinded away that lip. I'll have a look at the flywheel now, see if that's got any marks on it. does look a bit shiny around the edge. Please. I think that was it. Look what I found. And it's the only one that does it. There's definitely something hitting it at one time. So I'll take it out. Last nut had to round off on the inside. They're Allen keys, but I've put a screwdriver here to stop the flywheel turning up against the teeth. I don't know if you can see there. But I've dosed it in penetrating fluids, so I'll have another go now. Yeah, finally got it. Oh. Always the last bolt. Can't be easy, can it? Right.
I've been in contact with Newage again. I've sent them a video of the parts, this particular video, and I'm waiting for their advice. I'd just like to get this video out, so this is going to be continuing on. You'll have to wait till the next video to find out what the solution is. Thanks for watching, and if you like this, please give it a thumbs up, a like and subscribe. Cheers, bye.